Hello, this is Lori, and today I'm going to show you how to take a 12 by 12 template and convert it into something like an 11 by 8.5 format, some other aspect ratio. It's not too difficult to do. Sometimes it's a little bit time consuming, and some of it depends a bit on the template, but I'm going to show you today with this one. It is a Cindy Schneider template. She puts her credits down at the bottom, so I generally will move it up and put it where I want it to be. And then up here I don't need that message anymore, so I'm just going to delete it. The first thing I do is I scroll down on my 12 by 12 template and I make sure that if there's anything locked, that it's not something that I'm too worried about, and let me show you why. I'm going to Control A and grab everything, but sometimes if the background is locked, it won't go anywhere, and a lot of times I'll just deselect it anyway. I'm not that worried about the background with what I'm about to do. At this point, I usually go ahead and group it. So I'm going to hit group, and that's another reason for deselecting the background. If you have the background selected, it won't group. So we'll just group these together, and then I copy them. Now I've got a project that's open as soon as it flips over there. That is a rectangular project instead of a square project. So you can see this is 11 by 8.5. And now I'm just going to paste. Now once I paste that on, it's not going to fit, obviously, so I have to do some things to it. First of all, while it's grouped, I'm going to get it in the general vicinity of the right size. Now, when I do this, depending upon how your settings are, you might find that it squishes in like this did. So you want to right mouse and go to aspect ratio, and you want to make sure that it's still a square. And if it's not a square, let me just check. If I can pull it this way, see how I can pull it this way? So I do try to lock it beforehand. I always wish that everything would stay locked for me and I didn't have to do this. But I'm just going to lock it right now, and I'm going to hope that it's somewhere where it should be, because then if I go to ungroup it and the aspect ratio was off, what happens is I'll get a message that it can't be ungrouped. So I will say that the current Artisan is better about that. The aspect ratio can be off slightly and it will still ungroup okay. But if it's off too much, it won't ungroup. The main thing that I want on this template is that heart and all of the clustering and all of that inside, but I do like the border. I like the edges really well. So if I take that very back piece, and I'm just going to scroll down again. I like to look at my background and make sure it's not locked. So I'm selecting the background, and I'm going to make the selected elements the same size, and then I'm just going to center it up so it's right on top of the background. And now here's the trickier part. If I want this scalloped edge with the stitches with this square, I know that it's going to have to get very out of square, and if I do that grouped, I might not be able to ungroup it. So let's just take a look at what that would look like. I'm going to grab the scallops and the stitches and that square inside. I'll go ahead and group it all. And now I'm going to purposefully, oh, it looks like there were little dots. See that I didn't notice? So I will hit undo, and I also want to go find those little dots. Okay, and now I'm going to group all of that. So sometimes when I do this, I have to hit the undo button a few times until I know I've got exactly what I need. So now I am changing the aspect ratio on purpose. And while I'm right there, I'm going to go to Home, Align, and center on page so that it's nice and centered. Now let's see if it's going to let us ungroup. And in this case, it's not giving us the message, so it did. It's letting us ungroup even though the aspect ratio is very, very different. So there are times when you're doing this that you might be surprised that you can ungroup even if you get really rectangular, and then other times you might struggle at it. I have no idea what the difference is. I'm going to now just grab everything within that, and I'm not going to group it again in center. I'm just centering by eyeball and putting it where I want it to be. Now, if at this point I wanted all of this to be a little bit larger to fill that rectangle more, I would want to group, because if I just grab all the pieces like that and try to stretch it out, it won't work. So I'm grouping it, and now I'm stretching it to fit just a bit more within that template. And now I'm going to try ungrouping, and I know that my aspect ratio was lost, but I'm not getting that message. So as long as I don't get that, I don't have to hit undo and do something different. Now I have a template perfectly sized for my 11 by 8.5, and I did that completely from a 12 by 12 template. Have a great day, and I'll be back soon with more videos.